Hey, what's going on? This is Rob. I'm here for East Coast Gridiron, just taking a look at this upcoming preseason week's fantasy outlook. Kind of an eye to the future. Everybody's got their fantasy drafts coming up. I know I've got, four of them to come up with this upcoming season, so trying to get myself organized. But I also have a few key matchups that I'm looking for. I know a lot of people aren't big on preseason football. Yeah, they're playing against number twos and number threes on defense or vice versa, but there are a few matchups that might affect the way that I draft later in my rounds. First one I'm going to jump to is in New Orleans, is the quarterback battle there. Taysom Hill versus Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill could be a late round QB pickup just based on his rushing if he gets the start. I mean, the trick is, if Taysom Hill is the starter, it may end up that I'm not going to draft somebody like Kamara because his rushes and rushing attempts and yards and touchdowns, his red zone touches, all those things are going to get affected if Taysom Hill's the quarterback instead of Jameis Winston. Neither one of them impressed in the first game loss. Taysom Hill was 8 for 12, 81 yards and a pick. Jameis was 7 for 12, 96 yards with a touchdown and a pick in a loss that it might be kind of a long season for the Saints. Some growing pains here after Drew Brees is done. So I'm looking at that to see who's going to take that job. If it's Taysom Hill impresses this week, I might stay away from the Saints running backs because I feel like they're not going to get the red zone touches, get those touchdown points that you need. Next one I'm looking at is actually the Texans. Their quarterback, we don't know if Deshaun Watson's actually going to play in week one. If he holds out because he's still upset about being there, or if he gets suspended. Either one of those lines Tyrod Taylor up to be the starter in Houston. I want to keep an eye on Tyrod Taylor. I want to keep an eye on the rest of that offense. If Tyrod Taylor is going to be the guy, maybe I stay away from some other folks that I might otherwise think about drafting. So just a game that I want to watch and an individual performance I want to watch. If he gets a couple of drives in him, I hope that's the case. He only got one drive in the first game. He went 4 for 4 for 40 yards and led him to a field goal. But I'd like to see him get more work. I want to see what happens there, especially if Deshaun's not going to be around. Next, I'm jumping ship here. This is a little bit different. An individual performance that I'm looking for is down in Tampa. Two-headed monster, their running backs there with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Everybody's been high on both of them. I've got them somewhere around the mid-30s in running backs in the league, both of them. Very close together, mostly because Fournette gets those red zone touches and Jones is more of a yards per carry guy. What I'm actually looking for is the third guy, the 9-year vet that they just brought in from the Bengals on top of all 22 starters they're bringing back, in Giovanni Bernard. Giovanni Bernard is a guy that gets his attempts, but he's a reception guy. He's between 40 and 50 catches a season almost every year he's been in the league. If he's going to be a third down guy, a pass catching guy, an outlet guy for Tom Brady, that might affect my choice to draft one of the other two Tampa backs, because they're not going to get as many receptions, as many targets, as many opportunities in third and long situations down there in Tampa. So I think Giovanni Bernard, I actually want to see how much playing time he gets, how he looks. Does he still have gas in the tank after 9 seasons? He is only 29, but 9 years in the league, that's a bunch of miles on him. So if he looks good and looks like a good option in that offense, that might sway me around drafting his teammates there in the Tampa backfield. And the last one I want to look at is another running back duo, and a guy that's been a perennial draftable guy in Melvin Gordon, who's been a star, a guy that has carried my fantasy teams a few times, mostly in his San Diego days, obviously. But Javonte Williams, that they drafted in the second round last year, I look for him to be taking over quite a bit of the workload. I want to watch in week 2, see what kind of carries they get, what kind of workload they get. Are they going to sit Melvin Gordon as the wily veteran and give him rest? Are they going to give Javonte a big workload here? I think he might be the guy out of this backfield again to get more touches than Melvin Gordon. He already got a lot of looks last year, and I think that's only going to increase this year. They spent a second-round pick on him for a reason, so those are my games to look at this week. Just keeping an eye on it, and we'll catch you guys on Thursday for our regular show. Thanks, East Coast Gridiron fam. Take care.